All right, I'm back. So I waited, I watched the download, and it was like, moving. There's like, 30 minutes of recording, and it took a good, I don't know, 5, 6 minutes to get to like 8%. So if it was like, everything that was like an hour and a half, it's in line. So it makes me think that part was recorded. So cross our fingers. Worst case, I just have to kind of I guess, do that part. But I tend to repeat myself and kind of like say things during readings. But I think the best way to do it is to like if I share the screen, there's no potential for anything bad happening. Like literally, there's nothing that can happen. And then like when I go back to show my face, I just need to make sure that I'm looking at the camera, not looking at your chart. I don't know what this is doing. I've never seen Zoom do this. Maybe I need like update it or something. I have no idea. Anyways, so I was speaking about, like this really, really good link between your sun, moon, and ascendant, and how, like, you really have to watch out for perfectionism and like kind of like try to think about like how, that could have been embedded in you. Now, I imagine that your mother and your father have like similar worldviews, at least in the sense that, when you have a sextile with your sun and your moon, that there's usually a pretty pleasant relationship between the parents themselves. That doesn't necessarily mean that everything's perfect between you and them. And especially like I did say like really good things about you and your mother, but then like when I saw like that there's actually like a loose orb, but still Moon square Pluto, and then also um what was the other one? Mars square. What was it? And is there any cardinal? Ascendant square Saturn? Yeah. So there are definitely some aspects. But basically, I was saying how like it could there could have been some difficulty, like maybe a lot of times with like the Moon square Pluto, there's like this energy of like, yeah, really, really holding like tight control. So also I was talking about your Black Moon Lilith also, and in that time that I was kind of waiting for the download, which let's see how it's going. Um, I remembered some other things about it. Yeah, so it's 32% after like that much time. Like, there's no way that would have just been like, I don't know, 8 minutes of recording. That would have been done by now. So, anyways, yeah, I feel good about that. Um, did I turn the timer back on? I did, right? 32, it said. Okay. So basically, like, one other thing about that Black Moon Loath is that in the ninth house, you have to watch out for having professors. Like if I'm sure you're done with school, but like teachers, or even like people who are like if you're like in any kind of like not cult, but like like religious group, like a church or something, like these people having like a sense of jealousy towards you. Anything linked to higher education, travel. What was the other list? Teachers, professors, educational life, travels. So it's very key to kind of like hide those parts of you. Um, Now with Virgo, Black and Lilith, it's important to like there can be a level of like, so this is the thing about low vibe Virgo. It's like it can be super, super uh self-critical, which gets projected outwardly. So there's a big need to learn like within yourself, that whole self-compassion thing I was talking about, of like really, really, because it's the moon, it's what's hidden. So like learning to like understand your own self-talk, and then kind of moving towards self-compassion, which is the idea of self-compassion is being there for yourself like you would be there for your best friend, right? As in a Scorpio Virgo, you're probably a very, very good friend, someone who's really, really there for the people you care about. So that's something that needs to be like, for yourself. But, with the Virgo Black Moon Lilith, it's like there can be energy of like, if I help you, you owe me, right? And there can also be like very, like I said, like very, very critical. And also there can be very, very like it can make someone have like very, very hurtful words towards others, right? Um, because like Virgo is this like Virgo moon, it makes you super perceptive, super observant, right? So this is a really cool thing about your chart is that um the Scorpio makes you like very, very like psychically, intuitively like perceptive, like so where you're able to kind of like catch on and especially with your Mars and Venus in 12th house, you're really like good at like at kind of seeing through people, seeing through the BS. But with the Virgo, it makes you very, very good at doing that in a way that's more physical. So, with that said, yeah, like working on that is very important. The perfectionism, working on the also like Virgo moons can have like they can overthink because it's the moon is the emotions and it's in this case ruled by Mercury, which is the mind. So there can be a tendency to like overthink and try to like apply too much logic to your emotions. So that's like why Virgo moon can be a little bit difficult, is that there can be lots of anxiety when instead of feeling the emotions, you're trying to rationalize them, you're trying to like kind of do that whole thing, right? So yeah, we can talk more about that and how that shows up in your life. I'm very, very interested to hear about this square and to hear if that like played like a big role or if it was more minor. But with the square with Pluto, I'm sure you've seen like my I'm not sure, but like I imagine you've probably seen my most difficult aspects. And yeah, Pluto with the moon, it just puts one really, really in touch with the darker side of their own emotions. It's almost like kind of Scorpio moon energy. So it makes you become even more Scorpio than you already are. And it can lead to cynicism. It can make one have like an emotional nature that's very, very up and down, and it can make it, yeah, like very, very hard to kind of like be consistent. But like I just think the orb is so wide that like it's not gonna like be like it might be something that's like affecting you like a lot less often than someone that would have this, let's say, within 2 degrees, right? Because you see that it's 12 and 4, right? So with that said, like there can be issues of like power and control that can show up in relationships and just in life in general. So that's another a key word I want to speak to you about is the word power, and how you manifest that. Because the highest energy of that is like finding that internal power within yourself, which is what Scorpio is all about. That's why Scorpio is a sign of death, rebirth, and transformation. Why Scorpios want to go really, really deep into like things like the occult, the esoteric, things that give them power, right? It's a very power driven sign, but it's more of an internal power, while Taurus is opposite sign is more of an external. Scorpio is more internal. Um, so that is a very, very interesting link. Like because like the low vibe of that would be someone who's like very controlling, someone who like in relationships might be like so afraid to like lose the partner that they go towards like manipulation and like the like things just become like massive power struggles. And as a Capricorn rising, which makes one very, very like driven and competitive and all that stuff already, there can definitely be an energy where like someone with that in a lower vibe might like be the kind of person that like willing to like step over anyone to get to where they want to get. Do I sense that with you? No, I do not. But everything is possible. And like I said, I don't know you. Um, so yeah. But and of course, all of these are like probabilities, right? So these are things that could have shown up earlier in life, but the fact that you were born in '87, right? So you passed your Saturn return, you've matured. A lot of times when I talk to people, you're around my age. I'm born in '90, so it's like a lot of times people who are like I have a lot of clients in '87. It's interesting. Um, but yeah, they tend to be like I guess you could say like like squares and oppositions and all the difficult aspects, they can turn into like superpowers once you fully integrate them. So the integration of this one in particular is more about finding your own emotional power within yourself, finding that inner confidence, breaking through that self-critic, and and just being able to like not like have to have power struggles with people. Um, and yeah, because like what can happen is like I said with Black Moon Lilith and Virgo, like very, very ugly conversations, right? and knowing like because like you're so observant, right? That you know exactly kind of as a Scorpio exactly what to say, and you know this is true. You know exactly what to say to destroy someone. And I'm not saying that that manifests at all. I'm just saying that you, if it does, like you are not the person to fuck with. Um, so with that said, I want to speak more about the Virgo moon. Because like when we speak about the moon, we speak about like what we need to feel nurtured, what we need to feel secure, and what we need to feel. And of course, there's like I'm very really like when I do readings, I really like speaking about relationships. I think it's because I have a seventh house Venus and seventh house Mars and North Node. So like I really like to help people out with their own love life because I know how complicated love life is. I have a sense that there's some really interesting energy with you in that area. Of course I saw a photo of you. So uh, I, I I I had trouble. I'm getting better. Like my girlfriend's helping me. Like I'm getting better. Like at like I used to like literally not know. And I swear to God, I'm not like just saying this to, like act like all masculine shit. Like I literally like could not tell if a guy was good looking or not. Like I could tell if a guy was ugly. But I could not tell like what girls found attractive. But like I would say you're a handsome dude. Um, and you're an actor, so that probably like and I don't have an image of what you look like in my head at all, but I would imagine that's the case. I don't think there's many like ugly actors. I mean, there are, of course, there's niche rules for everyone, but like you didn't strike me in that way. With that said, like you might be so hard on yourself though, right? That like you might like I always like give the metaphor of like the Virgo like moon person, like they think they're like down low and the other person is up high, while in reality it's the opposite. Because like they're shooting so high for the stars that what's the expression? It's like shoot for like the sun, get to the stars, something like that. Shoot for the stars, get to the sun. I know I'm butchering every fucking expression ever, but like you get the point, right? So with Virgo, it's like they aim so high that like even if they don't meet their like fucking crazy idealistic like impossible to get to goals, they still get somewhere really good, and they're viewed as very responsible people. So okay, to the emotional need, definitely like you need a relationship with someone who's very very structured in their life. That doesn't mean they're boring, but someone who is extremely reliable, because you are extremely reliable. um Someone who, and then of course like you have your Venus and Mars and Sag, so there's like gonna be, that I do, I have my two masters in psychology in it, and I do astrological based counseling. If you're ever interested in embarking in that journey, it's absolutely wonderful. It's really like um incredible what can come out of that. And yeah. And just by the way, I tend to sometimes like like intuitively like drop like random like readings to people like throughout, like I don't like say I do this, I do this, I do that. Like sometimes I never even talk about it, but I believe that when I say something that I offer, that there's like a kind of a synchronistic element to it, meaning that like not that you need counseling, just meaning that maybe it might be something you're interested in, because it's not necessarily like counseling in the sense of um like there's something wrong, and I keep my prices low for a reason, because I do supervision, I do all this stuff for my psychology, with like a really good. What happened to my speakers? Hold on 1 second. I need I need to test. You just stop making noises. 1 second. I need to test my audio. So Mercury retrograde. Okay. Hello. Test. Okay, we're good. So we're in the shadow period of Mercury retrograde, so that's why all this shit's happening with technology. We learned that in my secret meeting earlier. I didn't look that tired. I look better now. Um, so yeah, I'm so afraid to do this thing where I don't share the screen. So I'm gonna share it, and then I'm gonna kind of come back. And I know, like people want to see my face and my expressions and stuff. It's just it's there's nothing scarier than like giving some deep truths and then they're not there. Like that's like my biggest fear in life. Joking. But yeah, in the follow up, like it's all live Zoom. we talk, we see each other, all that stuff. Although I do share a lot of stuff, a lot of screens in that Zoom meeting. It depends if you, okay, another thing, and like I'm explaining these things because like this is just like what's important. So most people, I would say, like especially these days, they do this reading, and you purchase this plus follow-up. Most people, so this is like the birth chart, you get this done once. Most people are doing, especially since your birthday is coming up, and I just started doing this, and I realized how magical it is. That's why I kind of have been pushing it on people. Not pushing it, but just kind of telling them about it and seeing if they resonate or not. And basically, it's doing the follow-up and the current astrology at the same time. It's a reading that I don't share publicly. I record it and I send it to either. Usually, I just do like an unlisted YouTube video, but if someone really, really wants, I can email it to them. But I've had issues with email in the past. But basically, like the current astrology is speaking about how all of these energies in your chart, like for example, let's say that you're like maybe like a year or 2 years ago you had Venus square Neptune, or Neptune transiting Neptune square Venus and Mars. So that would have been like a very, very confusing time for you, especially in your love life and in your like your journey towards like it would have been confusing, basically, let's just say. And there could have been some real delusions. That's just like one example. Like I do tons of, it's like predictive astrology. So it's like this reading is like the chart of, it's like the book of your life. That reading is like the current chapter, and I really like explain to you the slow return chart, the progress chart, all these different predictive tools that can help give you a better idea of the year ahead. And I encourage my clients to come back to me once a year for that reading, but it's a very good combination. I always give a price reduction when it's combined with someone who's already got the follow-up. So keep that in mind. Let me know. I'm not going to like mention it again, but keep that in mind. And of course, doing just the follow-up is totally cool too. But when I do them together, I start with 1 hour follow-up, and then it merges perfectly into the current astrology because it's so fresh in my head. Everything with the natal chart and everything is obviously connected. So it really, really is like very cathartic in the sense that you get like everything. You get like the big picture of everything, and then the picture of the now and what's coming. So with that said, yeah, so where was I? So yeah, like overall, like the chart, it's like it's asking you like I was speaking, what was I speaking about? I was speaking about it'll come back to me. But basically, like, yeah, with Virgo moon, you have an emotional need for stability, for things, to be like for health, like mental and physical, and consistency. So like you're definitely going to need that in a partner. But then also being like a Scorpio, you're going to need someone who they don't necessarily have to be a Scorpio or any sign in specific. They just have to be a solid person that you really, really trust and is very, very solid, and someone who's like, I don't want to say like a homebody, but definitely like, because like I feel like there's a lot of diversity in your dating range, and maybe you're married or something like that already. But like I say this like to anyone, because I know they're for sure married. There's definitely lots of diversity, right? There's not like one sign that just is like everything. Although like you could make the case that Sagittarius is that because you have your Mars and your Venus there, but like it's not like that, and I'll explain shortly. But yeah, so further with this kind of energy, right, of like of like getting deeper in touch with yourself, which is so linked to your karma. When we look at your ascendant, right, in Cancer, we see that it is squared by Saturn. So what's interesting about that is that when Saturn squares the ascendant, it can create lots of restrictions. So when you turn 30, 29 and a half, 30, your Saturn return, things probably really, really shifted for you, right? Especially like on an external level, probably like a lot to do with your own self-image. Like you probably like started to think that you were more good looking, that your confidence, probably your outer confidence probably improved a lot. Because what Saturn square ascendant can do is it can kind of hinder one's like, even if they're like the best looking person in the world, they can feel like they're not good looking, or they can feel that the way that their outer personality isn't good, and it can make them quite shy. Even so I feel like you probably really came into your own in that period of time. Now, with that said, everything is probabilities, and like if you're someone who really like used the higher energy of Virgo and had that kind of like that movement towards the earth magic variation of Virgo, where you're like really trying to kind of like, and is it conjunct? Let's see. Hold on. Like really trying to kind of like move towards higher spirituality and mysticism and it comes naturally to you, right? Because your south node, which rules like, we can call it like, oh, is my thing freezing? Wait for the program. You see, this is Mercury retrograde at its finest. Okay, there it is. Okay, so let me just check. Let's see. Yeah, the nebula, right? Zosma. Okay, another one. So you have Zosma on your moon. So Zosma is it's one of these fixed stars. I'll go back to my face for a little bit. I hope that things, I'm gonna like literally check every 2 seconds. But Zosma is all about like it's one of these, like in ancient astrology they talk about Zosma being very linked to like the truth finder. So like there are several like very spiritual fixed stars within Virgo. And I imagine that, because of that, you probably are very spiritual and you know, it's probably it's quite good, right? Now I'm looking for one thing. I'm looking for something. But one thing about Zosma too, is that it can cause issues with like addiction and like oversensitivity, also like depression. But it gives like really high instincts and vision. So it's kind of one of these these fixed stars that's like very much like, I can't see my face. Yep, still showing. Like there's definitely this energy of like it can give you that, but if you kind of manifest it in the correct way, it's making you like a very big truth seeker, someone who really wants to find that higher philosophy, which your moon is in the ninth house, which means that you have an emotional need not only for structure and order and all that, you have an emotional need to, and with your north node there, it's like a karmic and emotional need to explore and to gain a higher philosophy, right? Because in past lives, with your south node in Pisces, which is like your past like tendency, there's a tendency to be kind of attached to the material, not the, excuse me, opposite. Kind of attached to like your more immediate environment. And I'm going to share this because I'm having that PTSD of losing it. There can be like this energy of, yeah, like a sense of fear around like leaving like the immediate surroundings, and you'd be someone who like definitely like is a south node in Pisces people. They are past life mystics. They're people who brought in the gift of compassion, oneness, all that real good Pisces energy into this lifetime. So that stuff comes really easy, but there's a tendency to be kind of like an over daydreamer, if you want to put it like that, like someone who like spends too much time in those realms and doesn't put their like all of like this amazing energy that they have and all these amazing things they've learned, and these skills and these morals and values and just all this like compassion, all these things like that, into practical use. And that's why your north node's in Virgo and your moon's in Virgo, is that you're really in this lifetime, you're trying to really figure out what are the steps, the step-by-steps steps to get to where I want to get, right? Because there may have been like this kind of wishy-washy energy. And in the ninth house, it's the house, like I said, of higher wisdom. So it's about traveling. So traveling is something that's very important for you. I mentioned that it would be good for you like to like on social media, probably to like not like if you are someone that like has, like if you're someone that has funds, let's call it that, and who's able to travel the world, it'd be important for you not to flex on that, because it can cause like enemies. And yeah, I'm curious to know like if you've had like any clashes with professors and stuff like that, because like the moon in the ninth house also gives like a very big emotional need for higher education, but it can also make someone very, very like back and forth, like maybe you're like me, where you like went to like a million different universities. Um, but yeah, like overall, like Virgo moons, like they're gonna do good at whatever they want to do in this material world, in this material realm, and they're meant to teach others about responsibility. And going back to the emotional need part, it's like, yeah, it's cleanliness, also cleanliness for sure. Like you would never want to date someone who was dirty, or who didn't appreciate kind of beauty and purity. Like the highest energy of Virgo is purity. That's the best way I can say it. I don't know if you've heard my podcast, because we haven't released an episode in like 4 months or something. The Jesse and Trey podcast is available everywhere. It's actually really like, it's kind of like more, it's like a really good mix of comedy and and very serious topics. It's like Sag energy, which you have a lot of, and it's like literally actually maybe you'd really love that podcast, because our composite is Sag and Scorpio, and you have lots of those two planets. So it's like we get really philosophical, but then we're really like lighthearted. And yeah, but basically what I was saying is that Trey is a double Virgo, and he's like one of the most spiritual people I know. And he used to be really, really hard on himself. And he kind of like let it, like, because of that, he kind of just let himself fall, and just let himself just like go to the depths of just like depression and emo-ness. But then he started to realize that, and he started to kind of just like really love himself. And yeah, he's really, really happy, and he's doing great. And he he he's one of the most spiritual people and most intelligent people I know, and insightful. But he still has that element of that Virgo-ness of order, like for his work and for. So like, what's really cool about Virgo in this position is that, like, yeah, you're trying to find, like you're really like trying. There's an emotional need for you to find like what it is that's most important for you. Like when you're like thinking like, what is universal truth? The three questions: where do we come from? Where are we? Like, what are we doing? Where are we going? And exploring different worldviews. Like even if you don't travel, you can travel metaphorically, whether it's through astrology, through different like spiritual things, like the one I'm going to tell you about, which you're going to love. And just in general, just having friends from different cultures, maybe even dating someone different culture could be very, very interesting to you. So yeah. And yeah, so like one other thing though, like with your big three, you have to watch out, because you don't really have, let's see, you have any air, you have Jupiter, but that's a middle planet. So you have the fire, you have the water, you have the earth, but you lack the air, which is interesting, right? So but you do have your sun in the 11th house of Aquarius, which is also like an air house, right? But in essence, and you see down here, this is not like a very good breakdown, because it doesn't weigh everything in the way I would weigh it. So I wouldn't really pay attention that much to that. But overall, like when you lack air, you can sometimes lack objectivity. Um, and it can be difficult for you to like see things from other people's perspective. So like, and that's what I was going to get to next, is like when you have Capricorn, Scorpio, Virgo, there's a huge, huge need to get in touch with your inner child and to have fun. And like having Saturn on, okay, so here's another big clue of your childhood. You have Saturn on your IC, right down here. IC rules childhood. And let's see if there's any squares of the nodes. There's Saturn's great clue. Oh, okay, thank God. That one's not squaring, so it's Jupiter and Mars. Okay, gotcha. So those have to do with like karmic skip steps. We'll get into that a little bit later. I'm gonna get out my book, one of my books I like to access about that. What's the moon in right now, by the way? I feel like did the moon just shift? Let me see it. I don't think it did. I'm probably wrong, but like I felt a shift in the last like hour. No, it didn't. It didn't. I'm just a fucking crazy lunatic. Because the moon right now is opposite my fucking moon. Like that's not like necessarily a good thing, but it is a powerful thing. Like I told you, like the moon moves very fast right now. Oh, I know. It's because the sun's on my ascendant. exactly on my ascendant right now, pointing at Leo, which actually would be a really, really sorry I'm doing like the side talk stuff. Don't worry, like I don't like time my reading. I time them, but I don't like hour, we're done. It's like I just talk. I'm a talker. But like this would be a really, really good time for me to relaunch my Jesse and Astro. Maybe I should do it. Um, one quick second, actually, I want to look something up really quick. Hold on, let me pause this. All right, my friend, I'm back. I just sent you a message about what's going on, so let's not do any of this stuff with the messing around, not sharing the screen. Let's get it going. Let's get the timer back. So yeah, basically what I was getting to like hours ago was that you have to, like, when you have a sextile of your ascendant, moon, sun, um you have to watch out for, it's not really watch out, but like basically like, wait, this is like the wrong chart. I pulled up my chart from my for my my new account. I was like, what the fuck? Um okay, where's your chart? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Okay, where'd you go, David? Okay, so yeah. Anyways, when you have like moon, sun, ascendant, all like that, you have to watch out of being like, especially with these signs, like being a little bit overly serious. That's kind of like the vibe I get. I don't get that vibe from you personally. And we'll talk about like the Sag energy you have, which is very, very like, a blessing in your chart. Because let's pretend that you had like and they are in the 12th house, which is a whole story of its own. But let's say that they were like in the, I don't know, like in Virgo or something, or in Taurus or whatever, like, or even, yeah, like even in Pisces, like it would just like, no, Taurus is a good example, or Capricorn. Like that would just make it like way too like kind of energy that can get really stuck. So it's important for you in acting like literally the best fucking thing possible to really be in touch with your inner child. And when it comes to relationships, you're very, very adventurous, right? Like you're like, with even like in the 12th house, like having your Mars and Venus together. First of all, like there's a very high sex drive. I have this as well. I'm not saying I have like a super high sex drive, but like like it typically does. And it's very, very good for popularity and for fusing like the feminine and the masculine, which is a really nice kind of combination to have like this fire, even if it's like in a water house, the 12th house, which is a very, very complex place to have plants, which we'll talk about. But yeah, that was kind of like one little thing. But yeah, so like basically like the fact that your sun is square Uranus, that's very, very important. I'm doing some chewing tobacco right now, the Swedish kind. I'm very honest. I just like started doing it like randomly, like probably a month ago. And then I do stuff like this. I never get addicted to like tobacco somehow. Like I never like smoke cigarettes or anything like that. Or I just was like, 1 second, hold up 1 sec. I'm looking for something really quickly. 1 second, hold on. Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. Okay, cool. So yeah, um, so this is like a very interesting part of your chart, right? Because you're a Scorpio, which Scorpio obviously is about death through birth transformation. But to have Uranus squaring your sun, that's like the ultimate like rebel energy, right? So sometimes people who have that, like they really like want to like they might have like a father that kind of like has like an idea of like, like this is what you should do with your life. And they can sometimes like come like come to a conclusion where they're so rebellious, they're so against like just like following that they'll do anything to people with this aspect, right? To kind of get away from that. But the one thing, and it's very like individualistic, right? So it makes you like people who have this, like my girlfriend, she has this. They tend to have like a very like to be honest, like a very special and very unique like life purpose, right? Like it's like very like um specific, like what job, career. Sometimes people who have this, they struggle to like find like their true calling until like the like 53. But like it's very like multifaceted in terms of like what it like all the different things you can do. And yeah, like overall, um the only thing you kind of have to watch out for with that one is like like sometimes like when you're a rebellious person, like you can go too far with it, just people in general, right? Like where it's like almost like rebelling just for the sake of rebelling. Like let's say there's like two options, right? And let's say that the one that's like the more traditional one is actually like the better option. Like the person with this aspect, like they'll be so anti like stop, like fuck you, don't try to control me kind of energy, that they might just like choose the one that's like the worst one. You know what I mean? Um so it's important to kind of have that to be able to like look at things like objectively, which I said, you lack the air in your chart. So it's very important to get different people's opinions. And one thing when you lack air, like there's like different remedies, like physical remedies you can do. I highly recommend breath work. People who don't have air, like breath work can be like this very like healing thing. Um, so it's like a very, very good technique. Um, but yeah, with this energy of like the Venus and Mars, it's very much about like this side of you, like especially like Venus and Sagittarius, like first of all, they will. I've already said this before in your reading. So like when things come up like more than once, usually there's meaning to that, right? Um, and basically like in this case, it's like you will really be attracted to people from different cultures with different worldviews. Um, and even like that Sun and Uranus, like it can have like romantic implications as well, where like you might like really like not want to like date someone that, like, for example, like the family wants you to date. Like you'll need someone who's very like full of adventure, and who also is like willing to kind of go to these, like, I don't want to call them like dark places, but like as a Scorpio, you're naturally, with Chiron there, you're naturally this person who's like a healer. You're not just this person that has had to heal a lot from different wounds, but because you have that, it becomes like a superpower, especially at your age, where you're able to have like a very healing effect. Like lots of people who are like like actual healers, like that's their like job, like their profession, their career, like their life purpose, they have Sun and Chiron together because Sun's your identity. So any like planet like conjunct the Sun has a lot of implications to it. So maybe, you know, if you're acting like, you know, who knows, like maybe there's like some type of like energy there related to like through your art. And I don't know if you just act, if you, like I said, if you do other stuff like you know, to like healing people through that in some type of way. So you can definitely talk about that. But yeah, like with having like 12th house planets, you have Pluto there too. It's the ultimate energy of like you're like Pluto in the 12th house, and I'll talk about that a little bit. Like Pluto's an outer planet, so it doesn't have like a really a conscious like part like function, I guess you could say. Like it's more just like like ruling a like a part of your karma and your chart and whatnot. And yeah, basically like Pluto in the 12th house, the best way I can describe it is like, because Pluto is like really about like shadow work, right? So like as a Scorpio, you know, your sun's ruled by Pluto. So it's literally like such a high spiritual impetus, like it's such a high spiritual demand. And the way it is, especially like, and it kind of conflicts with your north node and south node, because what it's saying is that it's asking you to like let go of energy, like let go of energy that, and I see when I see these kind of things that are like contradicting, I always know that I used to get really confused about it, but I realized like it's more to do with like imbalance in the axis of Virgo Pisces from past lives. So in this case, it's more like, you know, um it's more about finding the balance between those two. And Pluto in the 12th is, imagine Saturn represents like the consensus reality, like, you know, what we know, like what we know to be true, or what we think, you know, the matrix kind of, if you want to put it like that, right? Now, having this alignment, it's like the metaphor is like it's asking you to like jump into the like the sea of Neptune, you know, like the oneness, right? And it comes naturally to you because you have your south node in Pisces, so it does come very naturally. So the way that I'm now kind of starting to kind of integrate and analyze what your karma and nodal axis means is not, it's more about like how in past lives like you have been very spiritual, and you're still meant to be very, very spiritual in this lifetime too, and be of service to humanity and stuff like that. But in past lives, you haven't like put that to practical use. You know what I mean? So imagine like the person who's just like the dreamer, and who kind of like doesn't really follow through on those like big like ambitions and dreams. So that's kind of what I get from that. Um, Now with yeah, so it's really asking you to like, it's all about surrender. Like that's a huge part of your chart, is like surrender, letting go. And kind of back to like, you know, the love stuff. Um there's like when people have Mars and Venus in the 12th house, they can really self-sabotage a lot when it comes to like relationships and love and stuff. Um and there's this big need, like literally the like it's literally like an antidote, right? Is just being of service, of selfless service. Doesn't mean you have to give your whole life away to that, but like when you do acts of service, not expecting anything back, you know, not even from like a karma perspective, you're just doing it from your heart. That's like how you break through 12th house planets, because 12th house planets can it can refer to like the 12th house can be looked at as like the house, the house with so much, it's high spirituality, the collective unconscious connection to everything, but it's also like the how it can be like the house of repressed energies also. So like when you like so like that goes back to the whole thing about oneness, right? Like when you're in that oneness and you're really like doing that thing, the oneness thing, the when you're really, really, really doing that, things get way easier. But a lot of times clients and people I know who have this type of configuration, they can sometimes be their worst enemies when it comes to matters of love. And it all starts with self-love, of course, right? As it always does. And basically like, yeah, like the more you can like learn to, I know it sounds so cheesy, but like it's just, I'm just saying saying what I see. Like the more you can like be your own best friend, as I said before, like not having that like self-criticism and all that stuff, that opens everything up when it comes to love. Everything. And you have really nice aspects. I mean, you have Venus and Mars both trining Saturn. So what that does is that it can give so there's like this real mix between having like a very serious approach to relationships, right? Like you don't want some bullshit, right? You want something that's gonna last. Sorry, I have to clear my mouth. Some water. But basically, yeah, like the beauty of Saturn trining, because it's not a difficult aspect. A trine and a sextile are like the more easy aspects. Basically what it can do is it can really make it so you're able to have like really lasting successful relationships that it's almost like they have this like glue to them, this like karmic glue, right? So it's very good. Now I don't think I started talking about like too much about like the Saturn that I see. I know I said a few things, but when you have that there, it typically refers to like childhood feeling like restricted in your self-expression in some type of way. Um, it's not like Pluto, like I have Pluto there, which refers more to like, and I don't think it has a trine. Does it have, is it squaring the nodes? I forget. No, it's, yeah, your Venus and Mars are squaring your nodes. That's interesting. So yeah, your love stuff is super karmic, super karmic. Um, but basically like, yeah, like with Saturn down there, it just speaks further to like how the Saturn return would have been this time of great healing. I'm sure there's something that like maybe an event or a circumstance that happened that really changed your life during that time. Maybe not. It's different for everyone. But yeah, like overall, Saturn on the IC, it can make people kind of yeah, like shy and kind of have difficulty like really moving towards like their higher energies until they overcome those restrictions. And like that can be done, like the Saturn return magically like does that a lot by itself. But like just doing any type of like psychological work where you're like going back into the childhood and realizing that like whether it was your dad or parents or just early childhood experiences in general, like there can be energy where like you're hanging on to something that's not yours, and learning this. And it also has to do with family karma, right? It's an Aries, so it's like it would make me think that like you know that the early kind of like family, like there's kind of like a combative energy potentially, not necessarily like fighting, but like more assertive, more fiery, and like basically like breaking free of that has a complete effect on your career, like an amazing effect on your career because it opposes your midheaven in Libra, right? Which is no surprise that your Libra, your midheaven is like career, dharma, what you're meant to do. And when it's in Libra, Libra rules, you know, like the arts and beauty and design and balance and kind of just like the level of harmoniousness in the level in the career. And it can also definitely speak to, you know, career in the arts. And as an actor, it makes perfect sense. Now, going back to the 12th house, like, you know, as I said before, you know, with Sag energy there, you're going to be, it's totally linked to your moon. So you do have like a lot of Sagittarius energy in you, even if like, you know, I don't know if you knew that much about it before. I have no idea what your level of astrology is, but there is, it really makes it so like if you're like looking like seriously at a partner, their level of openness to like exploring the world and traveling and like I said, the thing about cultures, like all that is super, super important, right? It's mega, mega important that you feel like you know, whoever you're with is helping you like broaden your horizons, right? Like they're helping you um like grow on like a level like not just like a spiritual level, but there needs to be like a shared vision, right? A shared vision of like what you guys want to do, what you guys want to accomplish, stuff of that nature. But in the 12th house, it can be, you know, there like one, there's many facets to it. One, it's deeply spiritual to have Venus. We can go one by one. Like to have Venus in the 12th house, it's really, really good for like studies of like the esoteric, the occult, stuff of that nature. It kind of gives you like, I always say it's like the 12th house and the 8th house are these places that are very dark, right? Like it's like people are usually like, it's like people are usually like afraid of them, like they can like relate to like, you know, spirit, like high spirituality, um you know, like I said, the collective unconscious, your dream life, stuff like that. So when you have your Venus there, it's like you can sometimes lose, like sometimes people who have that, they can almost like lose themselves in love a little bit. And it's totally, like I said, totally linked to your karma. Um, and I'll speak about that in a little bit. But yeah, really like Venus and Sag, like I said, your Venus is right on my moon. So like it's like freedom is super, super important for you, like in relationships. Um, Even being a Scorpio, which is a very like intimate sign, all about like, you know, soulmates and two souls becoming one, that kind of energy. Having, you know, like your love, you know, Venus and Mars and Sag, it's going to make you be someone who really like especially with the Sun square Uranus, there's a real level of individualism that you need. So like if there's like a relationship that's like too traditional, of course, you know, you love like the security and the knowledge that like, you know, this person is legit, this person is not gonna like kind of, I guess, leave me behind or like, you know, switch on me in any like unexpected way. But equally it speaks to like the need for excitement, the need for adventure, the need for someone who you can have fun with, right? Like who you can, you know, speak to and have like really deep conversations and someone who really contributes to your worldview, you know. So that's why like lots of people, like my girlfriend, for example, she's Romanian. I'm French American, even though my soul's Romanian. And I'm mad at my cat. Mika, why did you not eat that bug? You're a bad girl. I was trying to save the bug. You usually eat them. You scared of the spider, Mika? But yeah, so like that's one aspect of it is like Venus and Sag people, they tend to like be more attractive to people from different cultural backgrounds than the ones they're from because they really they learn a lot from them, you know, whether it's conscious or unconscious, they learn from them and it like it's like it's really, and also like with love aside, Venus rules spending, it rules lots of things, what we value. So like I have a really good friend who has her Venus in Sag, and even my girlfriend, like I said, Venus in Sag, love, it gives a absolute love for traveling. And I already told you how, like, with your Black and Lilith there, you kind of got to be careful, especially if, like I said, if you have, like, let's say you're going like a lavish like place. It's better to hide that, because that's like the area of life where people can like become jealous of you, as I said. So yeah, with Mars and yeah, well, I guess I can say more about Venus. So yeah, love for traveling, also yeah, love for foreign cultures, um, love for the adventure, the unknown, like really like loving to like kind of lose yourself to the unknown, which is a very like awesome, awesome, awesome thing. And I think that you probably, being a Scorpio, right? You go through like these really intense phases. You probably have these eras in your life where when you, Mika, stop it. When you like actually like look at them, like it's kind of trippy, because you're like, when I tell people this, they're always like, damn. 'Cause like everyone obviously changes, everyone goes through like growth and stuff like that. But the people who have like Scorpio and Pluto, there's such like a intense need to surrender and to let go, that they sometimes speak. And it's funny. It's like you're an actor, and I'm saying this metaphor, but they sometimes almost like can look back on themselves at different times in their lives, and it's almost like it was an actor playing them, and it trips people out a lot to hear that. But yeah, it's almost like they don't feel like they were that same person. So yeah, like having someone who is also going through their own transformations, which, luckily, a lot of people, I mean, there's definitely people like that who exist. It's not impossible to find people who are trying to grow and not just stay stuck. So you know, that's that. But like there's different levels to it. Because everyone obviously, well, not everyone, but most people like at some point in their life grow up. But for you, it's like it's such intense different eras that you might feel at certain points like you've like outgrown different people, different environments, stuff like that. So aside from that, what else can I say about Venus? And then 12th, and I'll go back to my face for a little bit. I probably don't look so cool. I look fine. So yeah, Venus in the 12th. Yeah, like you'll also like really like foreign languages, like dining out in like different like foreign restaurants. Anything foreign is going to be very attractive to you, and you'll feel very alive. You'll really value those types of things, and really value freedom. Um, but yeah, lots of people with Venus in the 12th, they have this like love for abandoning themselves to the unknown. Um, and sometimes they can like be so consumed, but this is like actually like not really happening with Sagittarius. You're lucky, but a lot of people who have Venus in the 12th, they can be so like consumed. Actually, no, no, opposite. Yeah, no, this is totally true, because Sagittarius is a very future oriented sign, right? Like they're very like they're like the least stuck in the past sign. Like they're very like and very, very future. So sometimes like they can like get lost in the future, you know? Um like so consumed with like pursuing like this like perfect, beautiful, like expansive future, that they might fail to see like the beauty of what's like right in front of them in terms of like a partner or just life in general. So it's like all it goes back to the thing about staying present, and like getting out of your head and like embodying, getting into your body, and really like engaging with mindfulness with each day. And yeah, like really just like a deep, like a real ability to kind of connect to the deep spiritual realms, and there can be like latent talents that are related to like psychic abilities, and I would do like dream journaling for sure. So yeah. Mars in 12th in Sag. So Mars in 12th can be difficult because it can sometimes feel like your personal power was like kind of taken away in some type of way um, when young. And there can be people who have Mars in 12th, and that's why the whole like being of service thing like fixes it, is that they can like have these like random like emotional outbursts. Like I said, you only have very good um besides like your square with the nodes, but like aspects with Mars. And Saturn trining it's gonna definitely make you more measured and more like I guess chill in that regard. But essentially, like you can really kind of like people who have that, sometimes they just do shit, and it's like they don't even know why they did it. They're like, what the fuck, why it's very impulsive, and it can sometimes be very self-sabotaging. The cat just looked at me in the most like Scorpio way ever. Double Scorpio. Um, and yeah, so like both of these speak to like if you're not like in like a spiritual path, um, like a potential like sense of like loss of direction, stuff like that. But yeah, Mars and Sag overall is a very nice placement. Makes someone like a very like good teacher, someone who wants to like learn a lot, accumulate lots of wisdom and knowledge, and really pass it on. And also because Mars is your like action, it's like your assertiveness, your action kind of part of you. Um, it makes you have this like real strong desire for exploration and adventure, and yeah, like it just like gives you that actual physical drive to travel and to learn and to expand yourself. So yeah, having partnerships that your partners will be very very karmic, like 100%. And I always like to access this book because it speaks about like the skip steps represented by having these. So with Venus, it says we're looking at unresolved, and this is like past life unresolved material pertaining to how a person relates to themselves and therefore the way they relate to others. The range of possibilities can extend from extremes of isolation to excessive social activity that leads to a loss of identity through exhaustion. And I would imagine it would be more of the like if your South Node's in Pisces, that would maybe more isolation because that's like a more isolated sign. It can indicate an issue with projected meaning or not seeing the true reality of others due to our transference onto them. We might transfer unresolved issues onto our partners and friends, co-opting them to play roles. I'm gonna go back to charts. I don't want this thing happen. Thank God. Okay, where was I? So yeah, there can be yeah, the place can indicate an issue with projected meaning or not seeing the true reality of others due to our transference onto them. We might transfer unresolved issues onto our partners and friends, co-opting them to play roles in our inner trauma. So this goes back to the lack of air, of air is being able to see that other person's perspective, right? This place, and it doesn't relate to water. Like water is more about being able to feel it. Air is a lot more intellectual. So Venus there's like displacement can also refer to a life-threatening situation whereby the self has become highly anxious, causing great difficulty in relating to its own needs. It can indicate a situation whereby the person needs to learn to be alone, to love and accept themselves before being able to meet others on an equal footing. So interesting stuff, huh? Learning to be alone, which I don't think is probably that hard for you. Um, with the South Node in Pisces, which is like a very it can be a very loner, but it's in the third house. So it's like yeah, it's that, but maybe you were just like a really good artist in a past life, you know, maybe you were like, third house could be like a writer, and Pisces is so imaginative. So then with Mars, it speaks about um the nature of the unresolved material pertains to the nature of desire and the instinctual will. The range of possibilities here includes unresolved anger, unresolved sexual feelings, and physical or sexual violence. Anger with or from others could be threatening to stability, just as hidden anger could also be at play. Its passive toxicity being part of the problem. This placement can signify situations whereby the will has been co-opted in some fashion. The person is overly compliant or lost. We could also see a situation in which excessive dominance has distorted the soul's original intention. This placement can indicate an unmet need for independence, which can then be a source of suppressed anger. So that's a big one, like an unmet need for independence, which can be a source of suppressed anger. But the unmet need can also express as a source of paradox in relationships, whereby the freedom to grow with another is desired, but a subconscious fear of entrapment. I feel like this one definitely resonates. So I'll read again. So the unmet need can also express as a source of paradox in relationships, whereby the freedom to grow with another is desired, but at subconscious feet, but I can't read. To grow with another is desired, but a subconscious fear of entrapment prevents this need of being fulfilled meaningfully. So you see, like, that's like the karma, and those are two planets very linked to like love, relationships, and stuff. So once again, you know, like karma playing a huge role, being 12th house being very, very karmic. Um, it's really about finding the right partner, which sounds so fucking obvious, but you know, it's not necessarily that easy because, like I said, on one end, there's that need for adventure, but then there's that real need for stability. Then we look at your Juno, which is kind of like your ideal partner, and it's in Virgo, conjunct your mood. So that speaks more to the stability part, you know, wanting someone that you can 100% count on, and you know, who has that same level of loyalty and consistency and you know, this, that, and the third that you have, right? Like this is Juno right here. So yeah, like there definitely is this split, and we'll definitely talk about it. So yeah, Mercury, I don't really say much about it. I mean, you have it in Scorpio. It just makes you like this deep prober, someone who really wants to go, you know, like probably not much of a small talk type of guy. I mean, I'm sure you can do it, but like, you know, you prefer to have like deeper conversations with friends who you have like really deep connections with, and you know, having the Scorpio energy there, it will make you like way more selective with the friends you keep. Um, like you would rather have like, you know, 3 like really, really good friends and like 20 or 30 like, you know, just acquaintances that you can't really trust. And I know that sounds obvious, but like not everyone is like that. Taking the chewing back out. So that's that. Now moving forward, like I said, they're not badly aspected. They're just in a difficult house. So like yeah, acts of service and really having meaning in your life is really like the ultimate fixer for this. Fixer upper. And then your descendant, which is like the 7th house cusp over here, is in Cancer. So that speaks further to like how, you know, you would be someone who would probably be more you know, attracted to someone who's in touch with their emotions, who's like kind of nurturing, who's very quite nurturing to you in a sense, right? Because the Capricorn rising can be very like, especially externally, like very like sturdy and like seem like they always have their shit together, you know, like the person like no one worries about, like if it's like the family, like they're like the kid, like no one like thinks has like anything going on. But with the Virgo moon, like I said, there can be like all kinds of anxiety. With square with Pluto, there can be, you know, issues with the emotions and like mood swings and like a real intensity with your emotions, right? So especially as a Scorpio sun, you know how that is too, right? So yeah, all in all, I think you kind of understand like how like there's this real mix of like more traditional, more like really, really close energy, but then also like this energy that's you know, fun, active, expansive, and more words like that. And hold on 1 second. Okay, let's see. So, with this aside, it's definitely something. But then you have this really, so kind of moving away from that. So okay, you have what I have, Mercury square Jupiter. That's an energy where sometimes Mika, stop not right now. I'm in the movie. Where sometimes you can put too much on your plate or like promise more than you can actually really truly deliver. Um, like I do this shit all the time, like you know, like thinking like I can, yeah, I can do this, yeah, I can do that, yeah, I can answer every single DM I ever get. But at some point, it's just like impossible, you know, and you have to kind of come to terms with that. And when you make decisions, really think like, you know, am I really able to uphold this, um, or is this just, you know, that energy speaking? Um, and I'm trying to think of like more ways like with the Mercury, like yeah, it's like yeah, it can make it's kind of like energy as someone like it can be very risk taking. But so yeah, you have to like really be careful with that. Like talking a big talk sometimes. So yeah, just being very, very, very mindful and kind of like really, really trying to like, and that's why therapy, probably why I brought it up at the start. It can really give you that more objective lens of yourself, right? That you might not naturally have with the lack of air in your chart. So then you know Neptune in the first house, that's like an energy that makes you really want to like kind of take your dream life and impose it into your physical life. So it's like you have like, you know, your dreams, your spirituality, and you know, maybe you know, a dream like I mean acting is like perfect for that, right? It's like it makes you like have like this very like hard to read kind of mysterious kind of outer personality or even way you look, you know. A lot of people that have this, they can have like beautiful eyes or you know something like that, like striking features that are very mysterious and very otherworldly. Like my cat Esme, she has it. Hers is like in Pisces, like ground ascendant, so hers is just like a lot different. But with Capricorn, can definitely sweeten the Capricorn energy. But also, one thing it can do is that it can create sort of like a lot like more of that energy I was speaking about of like um kind of a loss of the sense of self in a way, um and confusion around your identity, confusion around yeah, like what, not like really not really what you stand for, but yeah, just more identity and more like kind of very chameleon like energy as well, where you're able to kind of like fit in like tons of different types of circles. But it all goes back to just this need to really clearly define boundaries, and not just boundaries, but clearly define like, who you are and who you're not, basically, right? And you have to kind of also watch out for like people like taking advantage of you in kind of like psychic type ways. And it's very important to be in touch with your spiritual side, and to have, to have, because that that will play like a big role in your outer life, right? So if we speak about partnerships, I always tend to like bring these things back to that. You definitely want someone who doesn't shut down your dreams. You definitely don't want someone who isn't, some people like are like, they just can't dream. They're just not dreamers. They're just not open enough. They think of like what, like they're so rational, um and that can be very hurtful for you, because for you it's like you have that energy of like really like anything's possible type energy, right? So yeah, there can really be a desire, I guess you could say, to find someone who has that kind of boundlessness to them, and to their being, and to this, that, and the third. Now, aside from that, Uranus in the second and Jupiter in the second. First, let's start with Jupiter. That's an amazing placement. I see it all the time, and I always get the same feedback. I call it the financial guardian angel. It's really, really good for money, but then Uranus there can be a little bit unstable when it comes to money. So it's kind of give or take, or push and pull, right? But like really with Jupiter there and Aquarius, I mean, it's gonna make you very humanitarian, very like yeah, very about helping the world, and kind of future oriented, and inventive, and creative, and very individualistic, very, very like you are your own person, right? So if that was held back by parents, or anyone, it's not good. And there's a lot of people who have, the second house Uranus, when it comes to income, there can be like, even though there's like the Jupiter there, which it's like that's kind of like the energy of like I have tons of clients who have Jupiter second house, and it's like they're always like, yeah, I lost my job, but then like 2 weeks later, like I got lucky, and like somehow I just like got a job that was like way better, paid me more, better working circumstances, all this. So that's that. But then Uranus, yeah, Uranus, I've noticed in the second house, it can create like minimalists when it's there alone, but with Jupiter, maybe not. But it can give like a rather like, it can make one also like, with spending, you really have to like, one thing I would imagine is that with spending, you have to be kind of like careful, because you can be a little bit impulsive probably when it comes to buying things. Now, of course, having a Virgo moon will help that because it's so analytical. Um, but still, like Venus is spending and finances and stuff, and having Uranus in second house, it's interesting because it can make one like, it literally like an astrology reading is like, it's such a typical thing that someone with like second house Uranus would purchase, right? Like things because astrology is ruled by Uranus, right? So basically, that's a kind of push and pull energy. But I would imagine that yeah, like on some level, like what happens with this karmically with the Uranus there is that there can be some level of like too much attachment to like the material, because like I've said, like how you're really trying to move into the more spiritual, but still like, still being like tapped into the spirit, to the material world, right? It's not like you're like meant to be like this like monk. um But with that said, with Uranus, it can bring lots of surprises. There can be like lots of like ups and downs when it comes to finances. And that's kind of why I said the minimalist thing. Because people can tend to just be like, you know what, I'm just like things are so random, like I can't control them. I might as well just, own as little shit as possible. But then with Jupiter, it's like I want tons of possessions. But the whole cure is not linking self-esteem to what you own, and finding that within yourself and finding the set of values that you can subscribe to, right, within yourself. That's instead of outside with possessions. And then that really helps out that karma a lot. Because like with Uranus, there can be like some level of anxiety there where it's like, like shit, like what's happening, when it comes to money and to spending and stuff like that. So it's important to link spiritual values, or to kind of have like the monetary values and spiritual values, like to not have the monetary ones dominating the spiritual ones, I guess you could say. So yeah. Aside from that, 1 second. So yeah, Saturn, in the fourth, like I said, it speaks of a childhood where there's probably some level of restriction, which can be difficult. I talked about that enough, I think, though, just having to kind of overcome that. And then, having Chiron, it's conjunct your sun, as I said, but it's in Scorpio. So, there could be sometimes people that have that. There's like sexual trauma or something related to sexuality. I just thought of like a random thing, like some person on TikTok. I don't even watch TikTok, but like it was like saying how people who have Chiron Scorpio are like really good in bed. I don't know. Never verified that, but that's just a random thing I've heard. And you hear a lot of shit. That's why I don't really go on TikTok. I'm not saying it's bad. I just, I don't know. It's not for me. Um. So yeah, after that, like we talked about all these, Vertex in the eighth house in Leo. Um. Basically, like that speaks to like kind of like what I was saying earlier, and you see how this puzzle is coming together perfectly. And I had 2 hours. That'd be crazy. Kind of like wow. How like being in touch with your inner child is really your doorway to higher awareness. So maybe that's through a partner. I definitely think you need a partner who's like very fun. That's like 100% sure, right? But very solid and very fun. And besides that, like, yeah, it's just about what was I gonna say? Yeah, also like eighth house vertex, because vertex is like it's about like fated events. And it's a it's also like about kind of like how you project yourself in relationships, like kind of like it's almost like a second ascendant, like what you look like, how you appear, how you are in relationships. So in Leo, you'd be the probably like, wanting, like very, very loving, very passionate, and like very giving, very generous. And that's a trait of Virgo too, I've noticed. Very, very generous and pure. Um, so yeah. So yeah. What did I talk about? Didn't have anything. So yeah, kind of just like going back to just the like the whole South Node, North Node thing, the imbalance. It's like it's really just about kind of like, yeah, the South Node's in Pisces, but it's like it's really trying to get you to to make like a real effort in your kind of daily like spiritual life. Like for example, like having like a routine, like a spiritual routine, right? Um, super important, super important. Like my friend I was telling you about, who like has like literally a schedule. Maybe this is a little bit extreme, but like someone who like this guy, he like had like a schedule of like 7 a.m. to 7:45, like meditation, like, this is when he was like in his full Virgo energy, when I used to live with him. And he'd be like 7:45 to 8, whatever the thing's called that he does with his like stick, where he like loosens his muscles with his like this like stick. Um and yeah. Yep, yep, yep. Yep, 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 yep. So finding the balance between between Virgo and Pisces is like just how I've been saying, just about really just figuring out a way to like being too Pisces is, like I said, like being too in the dream world, too in the imagination. Like yeah, like Pisces, it's like the energy of like, oh yeah, I'll figure it out. Like everything's gonna be okay. Someone's gonna take care of me. God's gonna take care of me. The universe is gonna take care of me. Everything's just gonna work out. But then like they sometimes won't put in the effort. They can be a little bit lazy. Virgo is the opposite. Virgo's like when there's too much Virgo, it's like it's more like how do you say it? It's more like really worrying a little bit about all of the little things in life. And when you a lot of people, and I don't think it's really like that prevalent in your chart, um, they can sometimes um be so in like the here and now and like the little like tiny anxieties of life that it can push them away from that feeling of oneness, which is so huge in your chart, right? And even with that said, you have that part of fortune, right, in Scorpio with your Mercury, right? Also, Mercury, 11th house, is someone who like really likes to communicate a lot with their friends and with the like-minded people, and yeah, so it's very important. Let's see, my longest reading in a while. And if that, I know that first part worked. Open computer, retrograde. Got it. It's doing. Okay, so now let's just see what we can find. Anything, any fixed stars. Okay. I talked about Zosma, conjunct Moon, talked about that already. There's that Lilith. Midheaven. Ooh, say, ooh, yeah, you speak on your midheaven. That's huge. Okay, so speak on midheaven. So also writing could be something that's like really healing for you. So like like I said, like that could be. like something that's like a natural like talent, but it might be like more of like a hidden talent per se. And yeah, let me kind of go back to my face as I finish up. So yeah, Spica is one of the best stars in the heavens. Basically it's like a very lucky star. There's the four royal stars, and Spica is kind of like the one on the outside. It's like, I'm royal too, you know. It's like one of the brightest stars in the whole sky. It's a giant star. Um, So it creates stars, and midheaven is your career. So there's no surprise that you're like an actor, and you know like it gives success, renown, riches, a sweet disposition, love of art and science. This is a beautiful like um you know, even the name Spica, like it just sounds like it's such a beautiful name. I love it. It's really one of the best stars in the sky, and some people say it's as important as like the four royal archangel royal stars. Um, but it one thing about Spica is that there's such a distance between it and its like nearest neighbor that some cultures call it like the lonely one. Um, but yeah, it's really kind of like in it's kind of yeah by itself. So like you can think of like kind of how stars also you know are kind of by themselves, and you know they're very different, stand out. Um, Also, there's this huge merging of like feminine and masculine, like almost like androgynous qualities. Um, so it is very good for like material needs. But there's the warning is like you know you only reap harvest if you first sown the seed and cared for the fields. So it's like people who have like Spica sometimes they can get a little bit you have Arcturus there too. Just because it really close. Yeah, they can get a little bit like complacent, and it's kind of like the whole thing with any chart, right? But really, like when I'm looking up like you know midheaven conjunct Spica, it says unbounded good fortune, happiness, um, ex ecclesiastical what the fuck ecclesiastical preferments is where they're trying to say it. Unexpected honor or advancement beyond native's hopes or capacity. So it's a wonderful, wonderful star. There's another site that I love that has like really good information. It's like Dark Moon. Let me see if I can find it. But yeah, you get the point. You know, it's very 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 famous star. Where is it? Give you like a little small description. So the star Spica is affecting your fate. Spica is considered the most auspicious star in the sky. Mother Goddess slash Mother Mary is the protector of these people. It brings unbounded good fortune, happiness, unexpected honors, or advancement beyond natives' hopes or capacity, wealth. The only requirement is that the person does not use the blessing for selfish purposes. If so, mediocre results come. So there you go. That's it. Long as hell reading. I hope you enjoyed. It was a pleasure. I look forward to speaking to you. And yeah, that's Spica. That's like one of the most important parts of your whole chart, that fixed star that I talked about at the very end. So, yep, yep, yep. All right. Ciao.